Hello students. Students, we are starting a new chapter today, and it is the sixth chapter of your syllabus. The name of the chapter is plant-water relation. Now, students, having this knowledge of plant and water relation, this is very important because water, it is considered to be very essential or the most essential for plants, and it acts as the best medium for the transportation of substances throughout the plant body, and that is how a huge amount of water is taken up by the plants on their daily basis, and a considerable amount of it is lost by the process of transpiration. So that is how we can say that plant, it needs water, and water is very essential for the survival of the plant. Now this requirement of water for different categories of plant is different, and it constitutes about 90 to 95% of the plant cell and the plant tissue. Now if it constitutes this large amount, that is 90 to 95% of the plant cell and tissues, it helps the cell to maintain the turgidity and to maintain its shape. So the bottom line over here still remains the same, that the water is considered to be very essential for plants. So let us start this chapter by studying certain properties of water. The first property is it is the best solvent for most of the solutes. Okay, so the first property is it is the best solvent considered for most of the solutes. The second one is it is inert inorganic compound with neutral pH in its pure form. So if it is having a neutral pH in its pure form, it acts as the best medium for the transportation of minerals and for the transportation of any food substance or any food molecule throughout the plant body. The next one is it is the best aqueous medium for all the biochemical reaction occurring in the cell. So if it is considered to be the best aqueous medium for all the biochemical reaction, it is considered to be the best raw material to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Okay, photosynthesis, it is a biochemical reaction, and water, it is considered to be the best aqueous medium for all the biochemical reaction, and that is how to carry out photosynthesis, water is the best raw material. Fourth property is it has high specific heat capacity, high heat of vaporization and high heat of fusion, that makes it act as a thermal buffer. Now what does this mean? How is water considered to be a thermal buffer? Because water, it can resist the change in the temperature than any other liquid medium, and it absorbs the heat before there is a considerable or before there is a noticeable change in the rise of the temperature. And because it absorbs the heat, it acts as a thermal buffer or a temperature buffer to a sudden rise in temperature. So that is how it is considered to be a thermal buffer. Next property is water has good adhesive and cohesive force of attraction. And because it has good adhesive and good cohesive force of attraction, it is easier for the water to rise in the capillaries of these plants. So as you can see in this picture over here, the capillary action, where the water is rising through these capillaries of the plant. Why is it so? Because water has good adhesive and good cohesive force of attraction. Now all these properties, all these 5 properties that we have studied, this is due to the hydrogen bond between the water molecule. And because it is having this good hydrogen bond between the water molecules, it acts very significantly to link to connect the physical world with the biological processes. So let us once again just revise the properties of water. First one is it is the best solvent for most of the solutes. Second one is it is inert inorganic compound which is having neutral pH in its pure form, and this neutral pH in its pure form, it makes it the best medium for the transportation of minerals and food molecules. Third property, best aqueous medium for all biochemical reaction. So photosynthesis considered to be a biochemical reaction. Water acts as the best raw material to carry out photosynthesis in plants. Fourth property is it acts as a thermal buffer. That means it resists the change in the temperature than any other liquid medium, and it resists the change in the temperature before a noticeable rise in temperature. So that is how it acts as a thermal buffer. The next property is it has good adhesive force of attraction and a good cohesive force of attraction. And this good adhesive and cohesive force of attraction makes it easy to rise in this capillary of the plant. So these are the properties of the plant which says that how essential this water is for the plants. Next, let us talk about the water absorbing organs in the plants. Okay, so here we are talking about the organ that is responsible for this water absorption. So we very well know that roots are the main organ for water and mineral absorption in plants. But this absorption of water by the roots is different for different categories of plant. Now when we consider terrestrial plant, in terrestrial plants the water is absorbed from the soil in the form of liquid. But on the other hand, in case of epiphytic plants, now what are epiphytic plants? Epiphytic plants are the plants that grow on some other plant. That means it grows on a host plant to have a support. So it does not take any nutrient from that particular host plant, but it just needs that particular host plant to be a support for its growth. So in case of these epiphytic plants, if you take an example of orchids, these epiphytic plants or orchid, they have epiphytic roots, and these epiphytic roots, they are just hanging like this. Here if you see in this picture, these are the epiphytic roots of this orchid plant, and they are just hanging from the branch of that host plant. So if it is hanging freely hanging from the plant or from the branch of the host plant, it absorbs the water from the atmosphere in the form of water vapors. Okay, so this is the difference between the two. In terrestrial plants, the roots of the terrestrial plants, they absorb the water from the soil in the form of liquid, and in case of epiphytic plants, the plants that grow on the host plant, they have epiphytic roots which is freely hanging from the host plant, and these epiphytic roots, they absorb water vapors from the atmosphere. The example that we have taken here is of orchid. Now this epiphytic root, they are made up of special spongy tissue which is known as velamen. Now this velamen, this is the section of velamen. This is spongy in nature, and because this is spongy in nature, it becomes easy for it to absorb the water vapors from the atmosphere. So this was about the water absorbing organ in plants. Now further, when we talk about a typical root, that is a typical root of a terrestrial plant, the structure of the typical root is divided into 4 zones. Okay, the first one is the root cap. So this is the root cap. Now this root cap, it covers the tip of this root, and it protects the tender root apex when it makes its way through the soil. So when the plant is very young, that means the plant is very immature, and when the radicle or the root is still developing, the root it makes it way through the soil to adhere to the soil and to have a support for its growth. And while it is making its way through the soil, this root cap it actually protects the tender apex of the root, because the root or the plant is still very immature. The root apex is very tender, and so the root cap it will protect the root apex when it is growing through the soil. The next one is the meristematic zone, and the meristematic zone or the meristematic region is responsible for all the meristematic activities. Here, the division of cell in this meristematic region. What is a meristematic region? Meristematic region has meristematic cells, and the meristematic cells they have a high growth. That means high amount of growth. So this meristematic region is responsible for meristematic activity, that is the region of cell division. The cell divides very rapidly in this zone. The next one is zone of elongation, that is this. Now this zone of elongation, they have cells in this region which are very small and they are thin walled with a dense protoplasm. Okay, so this is the region of cell elongation or the zone of cell elongation. The next one is maturation zone. Now maturation zone is the main absorbing zone, you can see. So the absorption that takes place in this maturation zone is due to the root hair. Okay, so the epidermis of this maturation zone, it is a part which comprises of epiblemma cells, and these epiblemma cells they form unicellular hair-like extensions which are known as root hair. So as root hair is considered to be the main absorbing structure of the root, let us further see the structure of this root hair. So the root hair, it is a cytoplasmic extension, or you can say a prolongation of the epiblemma cell of the maturation zone in the roots. So here this is the maturation zone, and these root hairs are nothing but the prolongation or the cytoplasmic extension of the epiblemma cells. Now epiblemma cells, what are epiblemma cells? They are special epidermal cells which are in this maturation zone of the root. So what is root hair? It is a cytoplasmic extension, or you can consider it as a prolongation of the epiblemma cell. And these epiblemma cells are present in the maturation zone of the root. Now each of this root hair, it measures about 1 to 10 mm long, and it has this tube-like structure. So as you can see, this is an epiblemma cell and this is the root hair. So that is how the root hair is considered to be a cytoplasmic extension of this epiblemma cell. And this root hair, it measures about 1 to 10 mm long and it has this tube-like structure. If you talk about the morphology, it is colorless, it is unbranched, and it is ephemeral and very delicate. What do you mean by ephemeral? Ephemeral means it is short-lived. Okay, so the root hair, it measures about 1 to 10 mm long. It is tube-like structure. It is colorless, unbranched, ephemeral in nature, and it is very delicate. Now when you talk about the anatomy of this root hair, it has a large central vacuole. So as you can see over here, this part, this creamish part or this brown color part, this is a large central vacuole which is surrounded by a thin film of cytoplasm. Okay, so it is surrounded by a thin film of cytoplasm and a plasma membrane and thin cell wall, and the cell wall over here is two layered. Okay, so it is double layered cell wall, it is plasma membrane, and it is cytoplasm that is surrounding this central vacuole, this large central vacuole. Now let us talk about the cell wall. The cell wall, the outer cell wall, it is made up of pectin, and the inner cell wall is made up of cellulose. And the cell wall is freely permeable. Okay, but the plasma membrane is selectively permeable. Okay, that means anything can pass through the cell wall as it is freely permeable, but selective things, only the things that are required, can pass through the plasma membrane of this root hair. Okay, so once again, the root hair, it is a cytoplasmic extension, or you can say the prolongation of the epiblema cells. What are epiblema cells? Epiblema cells are special epidermal cell of the maturation zone of the root, and this root hair, it measures about 1 to 10 mm long. It is tube-like in structure, colorless, unbranched, and ephemeral in nature. Ephemeral means it is short-lived in nature and it is very delicate. When you talk about it anatomically this root hair is having a large central vacuole, and this large central vacuole, it is surrounded by a cytoplasm, a plasma membrane, and thin cell walls which are two layered. The outer layer of the cell wall, it is made up of pectin, and the inner layer of the cell wall is made up of cellulose. The cell wall is freely permeable, that means it can pass anything through this cell wall, and the plasma membrane is selectively permeable. So this was about the root and the root hair. Next, let us talk about the water availability, or water available for these roots for absorption. So water available to roots for absorption. Now the plants, they absorb water from the rhizosphere. Now rhizosphere is a micro environment that is surrounding the root hair. Okay, so the plants, they absorb the water from this rhizosphere. And the water is present surrounding this plant or the root in different forms. Okay, so it is gravitational water, hygroscopic water, combined water, and capillary water. Let us study all of them. So the gravitational water is the water that percolates deep into the soil, into the ground water level due to the gravity. Okay, so what is gravitational water? That the water that percolates deep into the soil due to the gravity, that is the groundwater. The hygroscopic water, what do you mean by hygroscopic water? Now hygroscopic water are fine soil particle imbibe or absorb the water and hold it. Okay, and the roots, they cannot absorb this water. So hygroscopic water means the fine soil particles, okay, they imbibe or absorb the water. Now what do you mean by absorb the water? We are not talking about absorption, we are talking about adsorption, AD. So adsorption means the water molecule are holding on or are attached on the surface of any medium. Okay, so here the water molecule, it is attached to the surface of the fine soil particles, and as you can see in this picture, the water molecule, it is attached to the surface of this fine soil particle, and as it is attached to this surface of the soil particle, it becomes hygroscopic water and it becomes unavailable for the roots to absorb this water. So it is completely unavailable for the roots. Then comes combined water. The water which is present in the form of hydrated oxides of silicon and aluminium is considered to be combined water. That means this water is in combination, is combined to the hydrated oxides of silicon and aluminium, etc. The next one is capillary water, that is this. So capillary waters is some amount of water which is held in the pores present between the neighboring soil particle. So in between two soil particle, there are some water that are held by these pores, okay, and due to the capillarity, this water, it becomes available for absorption for the roots. Okay, so out of these four forms of water, only the capillary water is actually available for the roots for absorption. So let us just revise whatever we have done today in this part. So we have studied the properties of water, where it says how water is essential for the plants. The first property is it is the best solvent for most of the solutes. Second property is it has neutral pH in its pure form, that makes it the best medium for the transportation of minerals and food molecules. Then it is considered to be best aqueous medium for all the biochemical reaction. And as it is the best aqueous medium for all the biochemical reaction, it is considered to be a raw material for the process of photosynthesis. Then it acts as a thermal buffer. That means it resists the change in the temperature by absorbing the heat before a considerable or before a noticeable rise in the temperature. So that is how it acts a buffer to a sudden change in temperature. Then it is having a good adhesive and cohesive property, that is good adhesive and cohesive force of attraction, that makes it very easy to rise in the capillaries of the plant. Then all these properties that we have studied is due to the hydrogen bond between the water molecule, and because it is having this good hydrogen bond between the water molecule, it is a significant molecule which connects the physical world with the biological processes. Next, we studied about the water absorbing organ in plants. Here we are talking about plant water relation. So we'll talk about water absorbing organ in plant. So roots is the water absorbing main water absorbing organ in the plant, and different types of plants have different types of roots. So in terrestrial plants, there are terrestrial roots which absorb the water from the soil in the form of liquid. But in case of epiphytic plants, the example that we had taken of orchid, here they have epiphytic roots that are freely hanging from the host plant, and they absorb the water in the form of water vapors. Okay, and they absorb this water in the form of water vapor by a special spongy tissue which is known as velamen. Okay, so this is the section of velamen. This is the velamen tissue. So this is a spongy tissue which makes it easy to absorb the water vapors from the environment. Next, we have also spoken about the different zones or different parts of a root, where first one is the root cap that covers the tender root apex, that protects the tender root apex. Then is the meristematic region where cell division takes place. Okay, so it is having meristematic cells that are responsible for cell division. Then there is zone of elongation. Here, this is the region which is having very small cell with very thin wall and very dense protoplasm. Next is maturation zone, which acts as the main absorbing zone. So this absorption in the maturation zone, it takes place due to the presence of these root hairs, and these root hairs are nothing but the cytoplasmic extension of the epiblema cells. What are epiblema cells? Epiblema cells are specialized or special epidermal cells which are present in this maturation zone. Then If we talk about the root hair, we know that it is a cytoplasmic extension, or you can say the prolongation of the epiplasma cell of the maturation zone, and it measures about 1 to 10 long, and it has a structure like tube. Okay, morphologically it is colorless, it is unbranched, it is ephemeral in nature. That means it is short-lived in nature and it is very delicate. If you talk about anatomical structure, it has a large central vacuole which is covered with cytoplasm and plasma membrane, and it has a thin cell wall, but the cell wall is two layered. The outer layer is made up of pectin and the inner layer is made up of cellulose. And the cell wall is considered to be permeable in nature. It is freely permeable in nature, whereas the plasma membrane is considered to be the selectively permeable in nature. Now, this was all about today's lecture. In the next part, we will see how this root, it absorbs the water by various mechanisms.